Everyone knows about the biological differences between men and women, and a lot of people find them amusing or interesting, but no one ever seems to talk about the great advantages that women have and the great advantages that men have, nor the disadvantages that each have based on their biology and how it manifests in their life. So that's what we're going to do here, and I'm focusing on the most important aspect, which is the advantages of women because it contributes to husbands and both of you should know about it. Remembering that we are souls is the most important thing to bear in mind because if you compare the soul to everything else, it's like comparing a grain of sand on the beach to the entire ocean, and the ocean is the soul and the grain of sand contains everything else in the material, psychological world is a soul. What happens is we become defined and confined by our material existence. We have lost our identity as souls because we have identified ourselves as material creatures, instead of spiritual. We now need to pull ourselves out of this hole that we have put ourselves in. In order to do that, we have to recognize the hole. So many people, the vast majority of us have fallen into these holes of material life and we've put up curtains and pretended that, everything is okay and it's okay if you want to live in darkness. But our true nature is spirit. So, we need to identify what this is, and one of the great identifiers that we have of ourselves and material existence is our gender. We don't even go around saying I'm a human being, do we? We go as individuals and say I am a man or I am a woman. Well, being a woman has tremendous advantages. You have to go back to what the gender within the human species does to us as individuals. Remember, there's the drive to survive, which is universal, but then just below that is the drive to procreate. It's a very huge thing in all living things. It's huge. It's no less huge in a human being. So, the drive to survive manifests differently in men than it does in women. But in women, the advantage is humongous, and if we can identify with this advantage, then we really have something going for us. A man's procreation determination is very simple. All he's driven to do by his body is to fertilize and then move on. That's it. It's very simple and it's very dumb. Women, on the other hand, nature has given women this advantage over men because nature has assigned women to be the ones to hold on to within their wombs, a new child, a new form of life. So, it has to give women the advantage of love because a selfish human being, like a selfish animal, couldn't care less about this new human being. So, what nature did was it tapped women's heart, and a woman's heart goes right to her soul. So, for the vast majority of time, other than a few hours a month, she's not driven to perform the sex act. She's driven to nurture, she's driven back into her heart, and so that she is able to draw from her heart and live within her heart. And this is huge. So, for a man, the advantage of being a woman is that he can learn to see through her eyes, to appreciate life through the eyes of the soul. When I really want to get a woman to start being a woman with her husband, if she's been hardened by the relationship troubles that she's gone through, I tell her, look, if you maintain this antagonistic point of view, you're going to have to come back as a man, and every single woman is shocked at the prospect. It's like women don't want to come back as men because they recognize that even though men are simple and men have reason, they don't have heart. Men don't naturally have heart. Now, some men have developed that it's true, but for a woman, it's innate, and when a woman identifies with her heart, with her compassion, with her love, she doesn't have to analyze things, she doesn't have to see things quote-unquote reasonably, because she's seeing through the eyes of God. This is the soul. Now we'll talk about in the next audio, the struggles that women have because of emotions. But let's stay focused now on the benefits that she has of having this perspective of the heart. It gives her the ability to step up and away from the day-to-day nonsense that happens and recognize in her husband, here is a soul who needs me. Here is a soul who will advance. Who is just stuck for a moment in a particular quandary? As a woman, I can open my heart to him, I can let him vent if he has to vent. I could let him complain. I could watch his anger without being victimized by it. I could watch his nonsensical behavior without taking it personally, because my eyes are the eyes of my heart. I am the soul. When a woman understands this, then she is not pushed into male behavior, which is very defensive and reactive. She doesn't have to be that way. Women are that way because they've been trained by society to be that way. However, it isn't natural for you as a woman to be that way. What's natural for you as a woman is to have feeling, the deep feeling, not emotional feeling, but the deep feeling of compassion. Compassion is the number one most beautiful component of being a woman. If you allow yourself to step down from that lofty place, well, you're no better than whoever it is you're dealing with their perspective at the moment. So, ladies, I urge you stay within your heart, become a saint, become so open to recognizing the struggles of your husband without engaging. Don't throw yourself down to his level when he wants to fight, and don't fall back on the past habits of fighting, arguing and being bossy or complaining. Don't do all those things. That's not who you are. Your body also has this other part with the emotions, and we'll talk about that next. But right now, you have to understand that if you remain in your heart, if you see life through your heart, if you see the beauty first and you see the problems, not as problems attacking you, but just problems, then you'll be fine. And this is the great advantage of being a woman, is that you can do this so naturally and your husband can't. You have to understand there's a huge difference here. Your husband doesn't have that ability. He is much more pressured by his bodily motivations than you are. You're able to rise above them more easily. It may not seem easy to you, but that's because you haven't been practicing. With practice comes perfect. You can do it. Now, I can tell you stories about women who have overcome, but you don't need those stories because you're in your heart. If you identify with that, you'll realize that what I'm saying is true and you don't need proof because the proof is within you. Now, the feeling of the heart is special. It is not the same as the feeling of emotion. You have to understand this, because if you're not literally feeling it almost physically in your heart, then that's not where you are. If it's up in your head, it's wrong. It isn't. This is how you can tell those are just emotions, and I'll explain that. But right now, you should know that the feeling of love is special, it's universal, it's unique, it's yours, and there's nothing that goes along with it that will pull you down. If it does try to pull you down because you have willpower and free will, you can continually bring yourself back to the feeling of the heart. Now, there's no resentment in the feeling of the heart. There's no self-pity in the feeling of the heart. There's no feeling of tragedy in the feeling of the heart. The feeling of the heart is pure goodness, pure love, objective love that is universal. So, ladies, know something: you are, in effect, ahead of men, because you're one step closer to men to feeling your true nature. Because your true nature is soul, soul is love, love is God. It's innate within you, and it isn't blocked by the commands of the body that men have. So, when you're seeing your husband acting foolishly, don't react, don't let your mind take over. Instead, infuse your mind with the compassion and the love of the heart, because that's who you are. The woman is the heart of the marriage. If you retain this, not as, hey, look at me, I'm the heart of the marriage, not with that ego, but with that humble, loving perspective, it is impossible for you to fail. Impossible.